Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody's week is off to a good start. We're going to do a little bit of telescopic fishing here at Bear Lake, try to get some more carp. I had some luck earlier, so we'll hope for some good luck tonight as well. How's it going, Canadian? You're out catching some carp as well. You were here at Bear Lake as well. Get over to our spot at 5561. There we go. So those of you looking for a spot, 5563, I should say. This spot here, if you go past the weeds there, is a great spot for carp right now on Cocos and Cream. I'm going to go back there with my bottom rod, but then my telescopic, I'm going to use algae and potatoes in front of the weeds to try to get some grass carp here. And I also want to try, after I cast this, see if we can get some boilies back there with the cobra. Cream somewhere, there we go. Set the length on this to show it. Go. Just 21 meters, full strength. All right, see how that does. So you're out here at the same spot. Very nice. Hopefully I'll have the luck I was getting earlier. I was catching quite a few grass carp and surprisingly a lot of black carp as well, which would be nice to get that extra XP bonus while it's happy hour. Got one water body record here earlier, plenty of weeklies. Tonight's tea is Lady Gray. Oh, still way too hot. Whew. That cool down. So while we're waiting for some fish to wake up here, still a little bit early for the carp to be hitting, but I'm going to work on, because there's been more and more people embracing the way of the telescopic rod. I'm going to work this week on getting some footage together to put together some YouTube guide videos for telescopic, going over the different rig options, different telescopic rod types, tips for finding the depth, looking for spots, all that kind of stuff. So look forward to that in the near future. I don't want to set a timeline for when they'll be ready to start uploading, but sometime in the near future. Hey there, the few 1234. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate the follow. Got our first bite here. Let's see what we're gonna get. Right close enough to the rod, pick it up. May have missed that one. Nope, still nibbling. Okay, so with these carp, usually they won't take the float all the way down. You kind of gotta wait till you see it being drugged to the sides to know when it's ready. Go. Looks like we've got a grass carp as our first fish tonight. Yeah, not too bad, almost 4.5 kilo. Good start. Awesome, yeah, so I will say for Bear Lake, you're going to need a very strong rod to do the carp fishing here. But if you go for some of like the tench and barbel, if you try to target those, you can get away with something like a red stick. The carp, however, with them often being 10 kilo or larger, it's pretty tough. But if you go like in this cove here, for example, you can also find some smaller fish. Out this way, I've had some luck finding some barbel, things of that nature. And if you're conservative and keep a smaller hook on and just keep small hooks around, you'll be all right. You might lose some, but one of the things you'll learn with telescopic is that until you get the really heavy duty rods, just use cheap hooks all the time, because you'll lose plenty of them. Absolutely. I remember Bear Lake is, what was that, level 16 when that was unlocked? Something like that. Ooh, toasty. So you'll almost got, when you get to Tversky, this is the river that really hooked me on telescopic fishing. But there's actually a really good spot on winding right now. Put that up too soon. that you can actually get a decent bit of Donnett's rough at night, and also plenty of white bream and white-eye bream. I've got a trophy white bream there, and a decent bit of other stuff. So that's a good one to put the telescopics to work, because they're not going to be very big fish. You could go with a red stick easily there. Which, as far as rod progression with telescopic, outside of the ultralights, if you want to do stuff with those, I would just go with the red sticks, get a couple of those, and then just save up for the falcons. Like, there's going in between for telescopic, I feel like there's not enough fish in that like 10 to 15 kilo range where it's worth getting into the intermediary rods. I would just go with the cheap red sticks that get you pretty much everything but the big fish species, and then just save up for the falcons. And if you do want to go the ultralight route, I got these ultra telescopics early on, and I was not very happy with them. They, even with their like 2.1 kilo capacity, 800 gram fish were hard to pull in on these. So I would just skip those altogether and go for the soul pull. You're going to go the ultralight route. Got our next fish here. Looks like a large crucian. I see some nibbles on the other rod. Not much action on the bottom so far. And one thing I'll say that I have found most of the time with telescopic, especially when you get sandwich bait unlocked, I find the traditional baits, like I'm using algae and potato, to generally be more effective than the carp hair and the carp and pop-up options. I'm not really sure why. I'm guessing it's because most of these spots you can't get all the way out to the primary active spots, like the tellies here, can't get out far enough to where you'd want to use the boilies. Let's see, is that hook fish on there? A little bit let go. Looks like it's on. Yeah, potato and algae are both really, really good options. And what I find with those in general on any lake, really, they may not be like the highest bite rate that you get, like if the stuff is really active on certain pop-ups and stuff. You won't get as much of a bite rate, but if there's grass carp, algae and potato are going to be reliable. That's what I like about them. Speaking of, got another nice grass carp coming in right here. Get him up on the shore a little bit so he doesn't get back in the water. There we go. A little, almost 8 kilo, not bad. And earlier I actually pulled in a 15 kilo grass carp on the tellies, which was nice. That was my largest on a telescopic so far. And another thing about telescopic, unless you plan on fishing from a boat, which eventually when you have a good telescopic selection, I do recommend getting one telescopic rod for boat fishing. It doesn't make sense to get more than one because you can't use the rod holders, but outside of boats, you always want the longer one. So whichever telescopic model you're buying, get the longest rod you can get of that. So like usually it's 7 or 8 meter. That gives you extra cast distance and extra pull-up strength, so you can get them up to the top of the water easier. But the reason you want a short one on boats is that a heavier fish, another almost 7.5 kilo there, on a long rod on boat, you almost can't get the fish up onto the boat to land them. So my ultimate plan is to have 3 long rods and then 1 short rod so that I can do the boat fishing occasionally. All right, got some nibbles on both of them, it looks like. And on the bottom rod, all right. Everything's active. I'm gonna go first here. Like the bottom rod, maybe. Usually I'm going to prioritize if the telescopics are about to get a fish on. keep those because if something gets hooked on the bottom, they'll stay hooked. Oh, so the red sticks are telescopic only, so you won't be able to put any reels on them. Bolos are going to be a completely different scenario, which I will say, something I learned and was surprised about, if you put points into fishing with telescopic rod, which if you do want to do telescopic, you absolutely want to do, compared to other rods where these are kind of optional, it's a must-have for telescopic. It actually counts towards bolo rod as well, which gives you an option if you want to go with reels, if you do get some free rod boost out of it. I think whatever was on there actually took the hook. But my recommendation, get at least 4 points in the rod at first, and then go ahead and max out the fixed line, because this is, I'm finding, to be the most effective rig type for telescopic. I am slowly getting points in the carp hair ones, but fixed line just does the trick much better in my opinion. And put all of that in there. And bait harvesting is also going to help you out a lot, so you can get your own algae, stuff like that. Another grass carp coming in here. Oh, not bad. Almost 13 kilo on that one. Nice big 30,000 XP with the happy hour bonus. I'm getting my way towards unlocking Tunguska. So we got a little bit of action on line 2 there. So I've got I'm using a size 1 hook and a size 1/0 on both of these, just to, one of them has a little bit higher bite rate and one targets slightly larger fish. It's a pretty large crucian right there. Might be a trophy. Nope, almost. I think it's, what is it, 1.7, 1.8 kilo is a trophy crucian. Just shy of it. I have gotten, I think this is where I got my trophy crucian to knock out the telescopic challenge. Got a couple weekly grass carps on those last ones there. Oh yeah, it is. It's Monday, so it's new weeklies. So I'm sure we'll get a bunch of weekly records here. 3-day weekend here in the States. Kind of forgot it was Monday. Yeah, I think it is 1.8. It's either 1.7, 1.8. I think you're right though. I think it is 1.8. Pulled that up a little too soon. And for finding the depth of an area, if you don't have access to marker rods, which I don't, at some point I'm going to power level fishing just to unlock the access to spot and marker rods. But I kind of just look at the map, try to guess based on what it's showing, and then go in increments of like a half a meter at a time until it no longer says floating on, or touching bottom, or the float's not going sideways, stuff like that. So for carp, for example, you want to stay towards the bottom. Now, smaller fish like bendis or bleak, stuff like that, you want to stick closer to the surface of the water. A little bit of nibble here. Oh. Got something going back on the bottom rod too. Go. Nope. All right. Whoever it was wasn't fully committed. Let me check at the, yeah, that's the one out. Based on the bite rate difference I'm seeing, I would stick to size 1 out here, because that 1/0's definitely getting a much lower bite rate than size 1. It seems to be wanting to latch on to the bottom rod here. The carp get a little difficult to set the hook on. Recast that because their full bite is often very similar to just the nibble, so you'll get a lot of missed pickings on them. It's like Black John from the in-game chat's going after Wild Carp. I don't know if he's at Sura or Aktuba. Assuming one of the two. We're past the morning sweet spot now. Nibbles there. And usually, if I'm setting the hook, I'll hold in shift to give it a quick jerk to try and set the hook. But unless I'm fishing for really small fish like Vendus, definitely don't hold in shift to bring the rod up faster, because you can very quickly end up snapping the line with these guys if you do that. We'll carp back to back there. See, Canadian's got a black carp already. I'll go ahead and recast this since it's been nudged a couple times now with no takers. And those who have been following the channel know that I've spent a lot of time at Ladoga Lake on a couple of telescopic spots, but I think those are finally dried up, unfortunately. They've been incredible for bite rate, but I went a couple times over the weekend to both spots and just got barely anything. So fortunately, I think those are retired for now until they are probably about a month or so. I'm sure they'll be active again. Let's take a look at the USA weeklies here so far for telescopic. Let's look at these for now. I think I've got, yeah, so I'm at the top. Yeah, there's the trophy crucian I caught here. It's actually the USA top, which is nice. A little nibble here. Come on. Just playing with it right now. The other thing I recommend as you start getting into telescopic and you get to where you're changing rig types a lot, take about 10 silver to buy 3 packs of sinkers, and you pretty much will never have to worry about sinkers running. As you, whenever you change the rig type on a telescopic, I learned this the hard way when I was out fishing on the lake. Changing the rig type actually uses up a sinker from those sinker sets. So each sinker set comes with like 50 sinkers and like 3 silver, so it's barely anything, but just buy a few of those because they're nice and cheap and have the peace of mind that you won't run out while you're out fishing. Got something nibbling on line 2. And line 1. Yeah, another small one, like another small grass carp. Yeah, I had I know I'd seen the sinkers before, but like there's no way you can't like adjust sinkers to change weight or anything. So I just kind of assumed if you had a pack, it just was fine. And I changed the rig one time. I think it was actually here at Bear Lake, and that's what ruined me, because I all of a sudden I couldn't finish the rig out, and there's no tackle shop here. Like, well. Lesson learned. Yeah, the spot's been been pretty good because it's been active last week, but it was on the pop-ups and sinking boilies, which I was just not having any luck with. But the grass carp now, it was like the leather carp and common carp and whatnot was what was active here before, but with the grass carp being active, it's making the sandwich bait awesome, just incredible. Some people have made some crazy money on this too. I saw a few days ago someone post on one of the discords, they turned in 120 fish out here. It was almost 2,000 silver. That's a good day's haul right there. I will say this extra long float that I've got on line 2 is good for deeper water areas like this. It's not as good because that extra length makes it hard to on these fish where they, instead of bringing the line all the way down, they just kind of make it go sideways. It's hard to tell when it's ready to set the hook with. 16 crucian trophies. Dang, that's a. Although it's a shame that I feel like trophies, no matter what the fish are, should be worth a lot. And like a trophy crucian, sadly, is worth like less XP than a small grass carp and less silver even. I feel like trophies could use a bit more of a multiplier bonus to them. That was a bad cast. I can just drag it out of that spot there. Sometimes that works. Looked like it worked this time. And a float I can recommend avoiding, well, got slow spot here. This Siberia long shot. This float is terrible because basically all of this is under the water, so all you can see is this tiny bit of red. It's practically, it gets so difficult to see it in the water that it's just not worth it. But you do want to get a range of usually like 2-gram floats and 4-gram floats are good for most stuff. If you start fishing for like burbot or stuff like that where you're using pieces of fish, you're going to want one of the larger floats that's like 5.5 gram. Yeah, that's one complaint I have with a lot of the float options. They really lack good visibility options, especially like this one's not too bad, but Ladoga Lake, the spots there at sunrise and sunset, the reflection makes it almost impossible to see floats. So I think the floats could definitely use some more visibility improvements. Woodpecker somewhere. All right, got another nibble on line 2. Yeah, this, because the length of that, I may actually, when I pull it back in, I may change that out to one of the other floats. It's easier to tell when it's ready to set the hook. Because the fish don't tend to put it all the way sideways, so it's just difficult. It's almost a guessing game with this one here. Come on, you can do it, fish. Yeah, it does. It's got that accessibility option. I really wish this game had that because some of us, you know, we don't have great eyesight like we used to. So it's be nice to have that improved visibility. Which, speaking of Fish and Plant, actually, this is something we've been talking about. Now that they have the club mode on there, I am planning on making a club and doing inviting everyone here on stream and in Canadians chat and everything. We can do a club there, play like maybe one session a week, do some of the club activities that they added. Oh, is that ready? Yeah, there we go. Finally got one on that. Looks like it's just a cushion, but better than nothing. All right, let's see if I've got one of the easier to see floats on here. Sadly, I don't. I'll just stick with this one. I need to pick up some more 4-gram floats next time I'm at. So another float thing I noticed while I was this feather float. You only get this if you go get the free float set from administrative buildings. I don't know why you can't purchase that, because it's like you can't get any other floats that light, and they're super useful if you're trying to use heavier bait on a ultralight rod. Recast this is just like a little bit crooked there. And they also have like on here they have like the glow in the dark floats, but it's only the little red tips that glow. I wish they had like in real life, they've got those blinking LED floats where if they start getting tension pulled on them, they start flashing, similar to the bite alarms they have on the bottom rods. They should really add those on, so if you're doing night fishing with floats, you can see when they're getting hits. But I feel like telescopic has been such a niche play style for most of the player base that not a lot of development time has gone into them. Yeah, they're super handy. I love them. Wish they had them on here. Right, got another bite on one. Got a decent sized one on there. And a little tip, if you get something that's really large and starts putting a lot of tension on your line, one of the ways you counter that is bring this guy in, I'll show. Basically back up a little bit with putting no tension on the line, and then as you're pulling up, you move toward the water so that you're keeping the line a little bit slack while you pull the fish towards the top of the water, and then let go, back up a few steps to pull it towards the shore. You just keep doing that back and forth motion, and that's the only way you can bring the especially large fish in. But sometimes if you get a fish that's just a little bit under what your line can handle, it's a way you can bring them in without snapping. Cat waking up here beside me. Another bite on line one. I need to, in addition to buying some more 4-gram floats when I'm at a tackle shop again, I need to pick up another size 1 berserk hook, I think. Yeah, during the day you still get some grass carp, but it's mostly small ones. Yeah, I think I caught like 6 black carp when I was out here for about an hour earlier, which is pretty good considering how rare they are usually. Speaking of, there's our first black carp for this stream. 4 kilo. Hey, and a float fishing game. Excellent. Wasn't a particularly large one, but still a good catch either way. That's right, Hiko. Slowly working my way towards unlocking bait fish rig, which I don't know if they can be used on telescopic, but we'll find out. Once you get above like 75%, every time you get a gain is like a happy moment. Doing some Valheim tonight, Hiko? not yet. Yeah, I was talking with some folks about starting up a Valheim server after I finish up. I got like a couple games on my mind right now. I'll do some ESO. Very nice. Yeah, I've got outside of my RF4 time. I still working on finishing my first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm slowly getting there. I think I'm like 2 big quests away from finishing up, and then I need to go back and finish Final Fantasy 16, and then I may do a get around to doing a Valheim private server, get it kicked up and do some streams of that. Should be fun. One more boss to go. Very nice. I'm also thinking about hopping on and doing some streams of No Man's Sky for the Voyager expedition. Try to unlock the rewards from that. All right, so we should be about 5-6 minutes away from when the evening bite rates kicks back up. The poor bottom rod with its cocos and cream has been performing poorly so far. Yep, I've got one friend that's been playing Starfield already, and it's kind of what I expected it to be. It's Skyrim in space, and the other features that are part of being a space game just feel kind of tacked on. Now, if you like Valheim and No Man's Sky, there's a game I can recommend that I run private servers of from time to time called Empyreon. It's super fun. It's not quite the like physics modeling of shipbuilding as Space Engineers, but it's got full space ship and base building. Has a huge galaxy like No Man's Sky with plenty of missions and progression level stuff like that. Really, really fun. Highly recommend it. I'll type the name of it down in chat there. Empyreon. That's the name of it. Here we go. I feel like I'm surprised they haven't yet. The biggest thing missing in No Man's Sky still is cosmetic ship customization. They really need to get on that, and that will make a huge difference. I think the whole like every ship is kind of the same look. I mean, they have like a variety of models, but as far as like for stats, they're all kind of the same one, and you have to go find specific spawn points of them instead of being able to build or customize how your ship looks is a big miss on the game. But I've never done any of their expeditions, which is kind of like when you compare it to something like Diablo or those other games. It's their version of Leagues, where it's a temporary storyline progression where you can unlock some permanent like cosmetics and stuff like that. So I want to give that a try. All right, Grasscarp, I'm gonna need you to wake back up. There's another spot, was it like 5531 or something like that, Canadian? It's been active here as well. This spot dries up, I might move over to that one. Someone just got a weekly world record of sockeye salmon on telescopic. That should be fun when I can start going after salmon on my tellies. I technically could at Tunguska, or not Tunguska, Volkov, but they tend to be, I think for telescopic, they tend to bite fairly deep, which kind of a pain in the butt to do. Hey, someone finally hitting on the bottom, and we also got one on line 1 here. Pulled up too soon. Yeah, it seems like both of those spots people have been rotating between the 31 and 63 spots. Is that a leather carp I see? Get in here. Nope, just a mirror. Yes, it got me up to 64% bottom fishing though. Not bad. One day I'll get those spot and marker rods unlocked. I'll recast both of these. They've both gotten kind of crooked on me. And since I've been using some ouch, let's go ahead and try to scoop some more. Got one piece. There we go. I'm slowly nibbling on line 2. There we go. Looks like another grass carp. Almost 5 kilo. Pretty good XP so far. One day I'd love to come out here when I can afford the 3 5.8 kilo ultralight telescopic rods, but those things they're like 8,000 silver a piece. But I can try and like target those 5 kilo black carp and grass carp and get crazy XP, I imagine. So the line 1, the one that's got the white and black float, which has been the more active one, is a vanilla one. That one is a size 1, and then the other one is a size 1/0, which I would stick to the size 1s because the 1/0 has not been nearly as effective. All good. And I will say, honestly, like, especially for smaller fish, I have not noticed much of a difference with telescopic between expensive hooks and cheap hooks. Like when I was doing all the Ladoga lake fishing, especially early on when I was losing hooks left and right, I would just get those cheap, like 2 silver hooks, and they did just fine. Because you don't really have auto hooking with telescopic anyways, I'm really not sure the hook quality matters. Guess whatever was biting on the bottom rod there didn't want to stick with it. But the most, I mean, it's important with every rod type, but especially with telescopic, always make sure that either if you're using a leader, the leader can be under, or your line. Always make sure one of the two is under the capacity of your rod, since there is no grace period with telescopic. With a rod that uses a reel, you have a few seconds there where you can Alt F4 or cut the line or something before your rod snaps. If you have your line and leader over the strength of your rod with telescopic and something too big hits, your rod's just going to insta-snap. So always make sure whenever you're changing your line and leaders out that you're within the parameters. Yeah, that's another thing on I think there's videos where people used hacks to remove the water to show. Basically, the fish doesn't spawn, so to speak, until the bite happens, and then it'll like swim in to get the hook. And, but until the bite actually occurs, there's nothing actually existing, so to speak. Another grass carp here. almost 7 kilo. One of the things I love about Quarry Lake, or when you're out there, the water is so clear that you can, if you're reeling a line in or something like that, you can see the fish chasing it once it spawns. It's pretty fun. Yeah, that's another aspect in Fishing Planet with their, even though the fights on there are much more arcadey than they are simulated, they have that tension breakdown with the pro bars where you can see the pressure breakdown between line, reel, and rod. So you can know where your weak link is when in a fight, which is helpful. You can see that like, oh, this fish is putting a lot more tension on my reel than everything else. Maybe I need to upsize my reel a bit. Yeah, they definitely have some like a complicated set of weighted tables that they go through, and that's why you'll also notice like you'll especially see with telescopic fishing, if you have 3 telescopic rods all with the same setup out that spot, you'll often see all of them start getting hit at around the same time. So they have they definitely have like tick checks to load the fish, and then it'll go against the weighted table to see if one actually spawns, all that stuff. Code mechanic stuff. Something thinking about hitting line 2 here. Go. Not a very big one, whatever it is. Looks like another crucian. Yep. Almost a kilo. I'm sure that is the case, and I'm sure that probably plays into how, if you ever compare the regional records between the U.S. region and the China and Russia regions, it's like night and day. Everything in those regions is like twice the size of every region. So I imagine there are people out there that have cracked a lot of those codes, and they certainly take advantage of it. Can't prove it, but I have a sneaking suspicion. I'll probably pull it up and look on here. Bear Lake may be difficult because there's less of a top end. Where you can really find it is if you go to like Volkov, for example. Look here, US Bear Lake 36.447. If we go to China, it's 49, so it's a big difference there. And like all of them, the top 5 are significantly bigger than the US region. Same with the Russian one's a little bit bigger, but not much. You can really see it on places that have catfish. So Volkov, I haven't checked lately, but a few months ago, I got one of the US water body records there that was 50 kilo. And I think the largest one for US was like 52 kilo. Meanwhile, the ones from the China region are like over 100 kilo. So I think there's certainly some, I'll look into tiny black carp. I think there's definitely something to it. Sturgeon's another fish species where I'm sure you can see a huge regional size difference. Just nibbling away there. Go. Ooh, got a little bit of a runner there. Looks like another, I think that's a black carp. Yeah. Nice, almost 5 kilo. Love that black carp XP. Recast the bottom line again. It's been pulled around a bit. If I had a third Falcon, I would use 3 telescopics out here, but still working on saving up enough to get it. I think about half, or not quite halfway there. Get there eventually. Another weekly on that black carp. Yeah, see, times like this is where like the visibility of those floats along with the reflection is rough. And not the nice fish kind of rough either. I think something was playing with line 2 there. Yeah. Another crucian? Yep, over a kilo. That's another thing nice about the telescopic. When I pulled in the 15 kilo grass carp, that was like a probably 15-20 second pull into the shore for a 15 kilo. On my HSV, that probably would have been like a 2 or 3 minute fight. So it's nice when you can get some of those larger fish and just pull them in almost immediately. Ultimately, I don't know that you're ever going to make more silver per hour with telescopic versus bottom fishing, but I think the fun factor is what it's all about. That's how they get you, Hiko. You work so hard to get there, and you get there and like, oh, I want to go somewhere else. Well, it's time for you to board the telescopic train. Join the Telebros for life. I feel like Canadians in-game channel has become like the US region go-to for telescopic fishing now. There's a bunch of us on here. Yeah, it's it gets expensive too. I mean, the top, I guess when you're comparing like the highest end, you look at like the top carp rods or match rods, those are like 30,000 silver. But when you compare weight capacity to weight capacity, telescopic is pretty expensive. I mean, the top one is 25 kilo capacity, and that's 8,000 silver. I'm pretty sure a carp rod for 25 kilo is only like 2,000. Which, granted, you got to get a reel as well, but it still comes in under 8,000. Put those red sticks to work, Hiko. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I still use my when I'm not fishing for these extra large species. I still use my red stick a lot. Another black carp coming in, small one, probably like a 1 or 2 kilo. Yeah, just under 2 kilo there. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I will say, like, if you can find the difficulty with telescopic is that you're more limited as far as active spots go, simply because of casting range. There's so many spots where where the active spot is at like 25 meters, but you can only get out to about 12 meters on a telescopic, and there is about like a 5 meter grace range. So if like a 20 meter spot, you can usually get something out of with a telescopic, but those long range ones you just can't do anything about. The old free bamboo. Hey, but that free float, man, the feather float, it's great. And if you do have, like, so when Ladoga Lake was active with telescopic, what I have noticed with telescopic, if you're at an active spot, like a mechanically active spot where it's just a higher bite rate than usual, the bite rate has like, it seems to have a multiplier for telescopic, so they'll hit quicker than they will with like a bottom rod. So you can really take it. We saw that with Ladoga Lake where I was pulling in like 3 fish a minute. And if you get the right fish like Black Sea Shemaya or the whitefish in Ladoga, it can be really profitable and really good XP. You're kind of more at the mercy of active spots, I think. just because you're of the limited range. Spots that are active for bottom, you may just not be able to take advantage of. And it's also harder to find active spots for telescopic just because there's so few people that do it. If you go to like the popular discords and websites and stuff, most of them are focused on bottom fishing or spin and trolling spots. They don't really report info for telescopic. So it's a lot of like trial and error to find an active one most of the time. I'm playing with line 2 here. Be a good chance to set that hook. Go. And looks like another black carp. All right. I think they're more purple than black, but we'll allow it. Just under 3 kilo there. So the way I found out that the U.S. region has hardly any telescopic players on there is when I first started picking up the telescopic fishing. Basically, everywhere I went, all the fish I would catch were ultralight or telescopic weekly records, and I got a lot of region and water body records for very small fish. We actually had a joke about one on Oldberg where I pulled in. It was like a 200-gram black carp, and we were laughing about it. It ended up being a water body record because there's just not a lot of people that have been doing it on the U.S. region. And I can understand why, because it is like, as far as progression, you're generally going to get better XP and silver on trolling or bottom fishing if you're looking purely at like XP and silver per hour, with exceptions like I said, if Black Sea Shemaya Seversky are active, for example, you can go out there with ultralights and get crazy XP. But I think just because it is a slower pace of progression, a lot of players don't really bother with it until what I do see a lot of is players will reach end game. They've already unlocked everything and they've got a lot of silver, so then they'll go back and start using telescopic to try to complete challenges and get on the records, the record boards and stuff like that. But for players progressing, because it is slower, it's just not as popular. That's not to say it's slow by any means. It's just typically not as fast as you could get with, especially bottom fishing. Trolling lately has been very slow everywhere from what I've seen. Hardly anybody's bothering with trolling. I feel like that last patch like somehow really nerfed trolling. Oh yeah, bears definitely hard. Now, if you're using bottom rods, especially Cocos and Cream, you can get back there behind the weeds, and it's supposed to be really active. Looks like Amber is active as well on Cocoa and Vanilla, 124.66. Of course, it is nighttime, so it's not the epitome of hot currently. Yeah, let me know if you find an active spot on Ladoga Lake. Like I said, the 2 spots that have been super crazy active there seem to have died off, but I'd be interested to see if you can find a new spot where the Vindus and Whitefish are hopping off the hooks like crazy. Mirror carp coming in. Not bad, a little 4 kilo there. Nice, yeah. Quarry is When Quarry is active, you can fill up a keep net quick there. There was I think my highest number of fish in an hour was at Quarry one day. I filled a keep net in a single hour out there. It was crazy. Granted, it was mostly like small perch and Vindus, so it wasn't worth much, but still pretty fun. They bite on mayfly larvae and stonefly larvae out there. The stonefly larva seems to target the whitefish a little better, while the mayfly larva targets the Vindus like crazy. Good old nighttime. Pickles and tea. Oh boy. All right. All right. Let me go. So for those of you that are new to the channel, we do have credits, which is channel points you earn from just being in the chat, participating in the chat, stuff like that. And one of my high-end chat things here that Canadian likes to pull out is pickles and tea, where I have some pickles and tea in real life on camera to mimic our strict pickles and tea diet in game. So I'm going to switch to a different screen for just a moment. I'll go ahead and kick off the ad break that's coming up in 5 minutes. I'm going to go grab a pickle and I will be right back. All right, I have returned. So we've got our little pickle here. Get on the camera. I don't know how well it'll show up because of the green screen action, but let's see. All right, and we start with good dip in my Lady Grey tea, which I think we did this on one of the other pickles and tea, and it was a pretty tasty combo, actually. They have a soft pickle. They've lost a little bit of their crunch. Probably time for a fresh jar, but nice little combo. The Lady Grey tea has like some citrus aftertones to it, so you get that sharp vinegary taste from the pickle, and then you're left with a little bit of citrus aftertaste. Pretty tasty. And that is how you eat like a Russian fisherman. Nothing but pickles and tea. So pickles, as far as cost effective goes, they most people just to stay cheap will just get carrots, or you can even just eat the cucumbers by themselves. I actually make the pickles because it also, both for the joke at this point, but also it does increase your cooking skills. So it's still very cheap to make. Just buy a big box of salt, and then every now and then I'll go to Oldberg, grab like 100 cucumbers and pickle them, get a little bit of skill gain out of it. Very tasty. Appreciate the pickle and tea support as always, Canadian. I don't know if I missed anything on these, so I'm going to recast them. Should be getting the morning bite rate hitting here soon as well. Happy hour ended. We got 35 fish in the first hour there. Not too bad, not too bad. Speaking of pickles and tea, do some pickles and tea end game as well. Grab a little algae action here, hopefully. Yeah, one piece. All right, got some nibbles here. There we go. Like a small grass carp. Actually, I haven't done any upgrades on my HSV, but I would probably just go with, especially if you upgrade the friction brakes, go with the like 105 silver generic oil. Probably be the safest route to go. So we got an ad break coming up in about 10 seconds here, just to prevent pre-roll ads. Fish on. Oh, I missed it. just a pickle feast. I need to remember to restock my pickle supply when I go get some groceries tomorrow. Make sure I'm always prepared. Some nibbles here. No? Yes? Maybe? Maybe? There we go. Another mirror carp from the looks of it. 4 kilo. The overall size of the carp we've been getting hasn't been great. And we got one over 10 kilos so far. Yep, so for crafting pickles, you I think you need like 10% in the cooking skill or something like that, and you just mix cucumbers with. Hey, there's another flip fishing game. Pickles or cucumbers with salt, and frustratingly, the game calls it freshly pickled cucumbers. It's just pickles. Yeah, I can't remember what was the It was early on because you get all these, which were, yeah, I think it's either like 10 or 15% is when you unlock freshly pickled cucumbers, I believe. Yeah. Another crucian carp. I saw something nibbling on the second line there, but I guess not. I'm going after line 1 again. Pull that up too soon. Definitely a noticeable difference in the bite rate between 1 and 1/0, though, even though they're only 1 hook size apart in difference. Go, should be able to catch now. Yep. Ooh, okay, all right. A little bit of heft to this grass carp. Might be another one that's around 9 kilo or so. Yeah, 8 kilo and another float gain. Excellent. Love to see it. Yeah, they're the easiest way for unlocking is to make a bunch of tea. Well, you can do boiled eggs as well, but you'll need a tea kettle for either of those. But tea is something you'll use a lot of anyways. So I would start by making a big batch of tea, and that'll last you a long time and get you the cooking skill you need to make the pickles. Now, when you go to buy that stuff, I'd recommend doing it when you're making a trip to Oldburg, because Oldburg has like a 20% discount at the grocery store. Nibbles on line 1 here. Little tiny crucian, I think. Ugh, not even a marker. That tiny little crucian on a size 1 hook. Press. That last grass carp was another weekly. Am I on all of the weeklies for telescopic grass carp in the US right now? Let's see. Weekly. You got grass carp. Go. Oh yeah. Covering the board up. That's what I like to see. Now there's that 15 kilo I caught earlier today. Another tiny crucian. And that was on a 1/0 hook. And I think the hook was bigger than the carp. Just about halfway through level 29 now. Cheapest place, I don't know. Ladoga does have, like, for a pack of 30, it's like a $2 or $3 penalty. But Stonefly and Mayfly have been sold out most places because they've been pretty popular bait. So I'd either just get some there at Ladoga for the slight penalty, or go to Volkov, because they've been sold out at Oldburg mostly as well, which is the only other cheap place to do. That's right, Canadian. Like I say, I'm the televangelist. Bringing everybody to the telescopic way of life. Yeah, that's not the stonefly like helps to target the whitefish, but they will also bite the mayfly larva as well. So as long as you have at least a mayfly, you're good. Missed both of those. Speaking of bait harvesting, come on, give me some algae. Yeah, 4 pieces of algae. I do wish that the skills for harvesting baits, in addition to increasing your chance of getting multiple larvae, like it increases for worms and bloodworms, it increases the number that you'll get. But for everything else, it just increases your chance of getting it. I wish it would increase the quantity as well, because you'll go through the bait you catch so fast. Nice one. Nice one, the few. We have the telly hearts here. Yeah, I just once I found the active or when I started these spots at Subversky, the docks were actually super active, and I started trying using initially one telescopic at a time, and then just went ahead and just went all 3, and just learning how to juggle the multiple telescopics at a time. I just found it to be super fun. But our feeder rod is doing a whole lot of nothing right now. But yeah, as far as those skills go, like the 2 reasons the fish with telescopic are so important is that A, it's the only way to improve your distance with telescopic, so that alone makes it a big deal. And then B, that control of fish definitely helps prevent you from like insta snaps. A lot of those fish will have like chub, for example, when they first hit, they just make a quick dash for it. So if you catch one that's just a little bit above like half of what your capacity is, they can snap the line in that first rush if you don't have in. Whereas with other rod skill points, they're kind of like a lowest priority. Telescopic, they're a must have. But it is still weird to me that it gives you bolo rod points. If anything, I would think that like match rod and bolo rod would be kind of this would share points, since they're both float rod and reel. I guess it's a good way to get a little bit of extra oomph for when you want to do stuff with like lighter rigs in deep water or something. All right, so we're closing in on about an hour, a little over an hour here. Depending on the spots, for the whitefish, you want to be basically within like 10 centimeters of the bottom of the spot. For Vendus, around like 75 centimeters to a meter is good. But yeah, with the whitefish, you just kind of have to do some trial and error to figure out what the depth of the spot is, and just go about 10 centimeters above that. And hook size, I found that size 10 hooks is a good way to gauge bite rate. If I know that the whitefish are active, I'll switch to a size 4 to target them better. But a size 10, the whitefish and the Vendus will both bite pretty actively on. Ooh, got a nice size one here. See, with Telly, you don't ever have reels to repair. Almost 7 kilo on that mirror carp. The downside is that at some point you will eventually just break the Tellys because you can't repair them. But I mean, I've put a lot of pressure on these, and it's at 0.2% wear, so it'll last a while. Another small crucian there. Bait scoop. Hey, we got a trifecta. All right. If you go back and watch my my first Ladoga Lake stream, I must have lost like 30 hooks from stuff snapping my ultralight lines. Usually it was like be a lake trout or something like that would hit, and those were on the ultralights. It was a bad time. It was also there that I learned that you can eventually run out of line. It's like I had some of the original line on those rods, and every time the line was torn, it would use up like 8 meters of that line. Eventually got to where didn't have enough to put on there. Oh, hey, someone's finally biting on the feeder rod again. Will it actually stay? Maybe. 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 All right, here we go. Ooh, okay. I had some bite at the beginning there, but oh, now I got both the telly rods going as well, of course. While I'm busy reeling in this small grass carp. As is what I mean, like that carp right there would have been an instant pull in with the tellies. Now spending that time reeling it in. Missed 2 fish because of it. Just say no to feeder rods. They distract you from the real fishing style. Or should I say the real-less fishing style. Alright, still nibbling there, fish, or can I cast the feeder back out? Keep your mind. Easing me here. I swear, as soon as I pull the feeder out to cast it, it'll go wild with it. Alright, I'm gonna cast. Alright, here we go. Like we've got another small black carp. Right. So you've already found some whitefish and roach at least. Almost 2 kilo on that black carp. And if you find a spot where there's whitefish are active, or even the Vindus there, if it's super active, it's not bad silver because as long as they're at least marker, not even chat marker, they tend to be worth at least like 7 silver each. So they add up pretty quick. We're up to 49 fish. Let's try to get one more fish, get an even 50, and then turn in and see what our total is. Some nibbles. Nope. Just a crucian to finish things off. That's a shame. All right. Pull everything in. All right. We got 50 fish total. We get up to the old creepy fishing van. You know, they always make the jokes about don't go for a windowless white van with free candy on the side, but all of us fishermen here at Bear Lake are drawn to this windowless white van that's handing out money. I don't know how to feel about that. So what are we guessing? I'll set this by weight. I'm going to say 227 silver. $193 from Hiko. It sounds like most, we didn't get, even above 5 kilo, we didn't get a whole lot of. 254 from Canadian. Our total is 237 from the few. We got, come on here, didn't let me select them all, let me reopen it here, there we go. 236, look at that. The few was over by just 1 cent, almost exact. Very nice, the few. we're gonna count that as a perfect guess. Very nice. Not too shabby though. For that was a little under an hour and a half there. We're back up to almost 1,600 silver. I'm still undecided on if I want to. Well, you know what? For that, you get the carp emoji thrown out here. Oh yeah, the angry carp. That's the reward there. I'm still undecided about whether or not I want to go for a third falcon, or if I want to save up all the way to 8,000 and get my first super end game rod. I guess it depends on how quickly I can start making money with a third telescopic. But I see that you found a spot that's working out for you, Hiko. You're breaking in on the old telescopic weeklies already. Gotta love it. But with that, we'll go and get our final end of stream scoop. Come on, give us all 3 for good luck. We got 2 or 3. That's all right luck. Had a bad day though. Got good bit of fish there, plenty of black carp, which is nice. Switching to spinning, you coward. But with that, we'll wrap things up. I'll be back for another stream tomorrow night, possibly here at Bear Lake, but I'm always going to keep my eye open for other active spots. If I hear about any other active spots for telescopic, I'll try and showcase them. But until then, I hope everybody has a good night. For those of you in Europe, a good morning and some good fishing, and I will catch you all next time. Take it easy, folks.